You want to talk about Pharrell time? Oh, cause I'm happy. I'd be happy too if I was stealing lots of folks' publishing and rights to songs and all kinds of stuff.
She's so pissed.
I actually really wouldn't be happy because it's evil.
Kelis says that she wasn't told that Beyonce was going to be using her music in Beyonce's new album, Renaissance. And so we're going to watch a video that, and Kelis has released a couple of things, but we're going to watch this one video in particular where she just kind of goes off and she's talking about not just Beyonce, but she's going in on her, at the time producers, Chad Hugo and Pharrell Williams of the Neptunes. And I mean, she's just kind of calling things out and alleging that, these producers stole her music. And specifically, we're talking about Milkshake, right? So, like, the most popular song most of us are familiar with Kelis. So we're going to watch it. So it's her words, and then we're going to discuss it because there are some legal things here and potential ramifications of what she's just actually saying happened, and whether, we have to decide whether she's being truthful or not.
This is like a fight in the family because, Kelis is one of my favorite artists ever of all time. Chad Hugo, Pharrell Williams are my favorite producers of all time. The albums that they have created together are some of my favorite albums of all time. So this is real close to home and I have some definite thoughts. So,
all right, let's do it.
So just to add to my thought, here's the issue, okay? This is really not about Beyonce or anything else for that. The reality is, okay, and I said what I said, so still all facts, okay? But the reality is that this is...
So really fast, on her Instagram, she had posted a video. It was a little more open-ended, but now she gets very specific. So that's what she's saying. I have additional thoughts. So this is the additional.
Yeah, the first video was more of like just venting, ranting, a little more kind of like venomous, but this is more of a breakdown of this. So now she's like, it seems like she's taken a beat for a second and she's calmed down for a second, and now she just wants to clarify in depth of what she's saying.
All right, let's come back.
More about the fact that, like, there's a lot of hypocrisy and there's a lot of nonsense. So we've got Pharrell, who did an interview, I think last year, talking about artists' rights and how people should be able to rework their deals and artists should be getting credit for what they've done and all this stuff. Where in reality, when I was signed to him, I had the same manager that he had, and he has writing credits on my records, okay, all my singles, coincidentally, and he never wrote a song, a lyric a day in his life, okay?
All right, so the energy right there, I mean, like, that's I believe that this is some true passion and rage that she's feeling, but specifically to what she just said. So Pharrell didn't write a single thing. So obviously, to the extent that what he just made the beat, him and Chad just made the beat. I mean,
well, Chad in that era. Chad did a lot of the actual like productions with the drums and stuff. He was doing a lot of chords, and Pharrell does a lot of melodies, phrases, catchphrases, and singing and stuff like that. Later on, he became more of just fully on producing the songs himself and do, but to go for her to say, I mean, you can find videos of Pharrell in the studio where he's literally coming up with lyrics and writing stuff on the spot. So for her to say that he's never written a lyric in his life, he's never, like, it's just, it's crazy. And again, this is incredibly heartbreaking because, a little bit of a backstory is, Neptunes developed Kelis. They took care of the production of her first two records, of everything. Like,
right, which is why this relationship, we're saying she was signed then to Star Trek. And so, I'm wondering and I'm curious about what she says in this video, which is they didn't write anything. They are stealing my money. Literally, she uses the word stealing. I'm not getting paid anything. So we're going to kind of, cut this up, but I'm looking at this from, if you have a development deal, the standard industry contract is that, the artist typically does get a very, very small percentage of royalties, and they only get that after the label has recouped everything and invested, right? So if you invested time on studio production, on music videos and all this stuff, which sometimes can be in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so, to the extent that she goes, really, it sounds like her problem is they told me one thing about what the deal is, and the actual contract I came to find later said something else, which is time and again what we hear from artists because they don't do their due diligence. They don't get an attorney.
I'm actually I'm shocked by all this when I first heard this. Now, again, I'm going to preface by these are like my literal favorite artists that we're talking about right now, like literally. And Just over the years, I was hearing, you would hear Kelis kind of have rumblings and stuff about doing interviews talking about how, her deal wasn't great and how she was told that she was going to get a certain percentage and it didn't work out. And you heard rumblings of that, but she's also taken herself out of the mainstream. So I also want to say that this video is not her. She's not like an Azalea Banks who was constantly making controversy by just releasing
Right.
videos and rants and stuff. Like she's a farmer now. Like she farms, she releases music every now and again. And it's cool, but like she's more cooking. She has cooking show on Netflix. Like she's in a different lane as far as this, but she is absolutely one of the queen innovators of, especially for alternative R&B. Like her whole vibe, she is a whole vibe and a style, and she's probably your favorite artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let's continue with the video a little bit, and then we'll come back.
Okay? And so, yeah, that's a problem. Number two, we've got Beyonce, who, like I said, out of human decency and artistry and female, just all of the stuff she sings about, all this empowerment and stuff, I don't talk about it, I am about it, okay? So the reality is, all of this female empowerment stuff, it doesn't only counts if you really do it. If you're really living it and walking the walk. Don't just talk the talk. It's real cute and fun to sing all these girls' songs. Like, come on now. Let's be real, all right?
Okay, on that point,
This is where it
to
gets
the extent they're trying to say that she's going on Beyonce, because the question, what she's really trying to say is, I think that Beyonce or her legal team, knowing that they were taking, not a sample, okay? We didn't even say this.
It's not
right?
it's not a sample. It's the replaying. It's like the this. Okay, so the song,
reinterpretation
it's a reinterpretation. It's an interpolation of the thing. There's like a little part that goes. It's not even the same melody, but it goes la 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 la. Like, and it's so quiet you could miss it if you sneeze. And the vibe, the second half of Energy has a kind of like the Milkshake kind of rhythm.
So Kelis's Milkshake to Beyonce's song Energy. That's what we're talking about. So the song Milkshake, she's credited as a performer, so she's not actually credited as a songwriter. And what she says is that she was promised that it was a 33-33-33 split. And she goes, that's not the case. Again, she's saying, I'm not getting paid anything. So she's saying there's no back-end royalties. And she's like, but at the time, I'm touring and I'm getting great money from my shows. And so I didn't even think about it. I wasn't even caring. And then you get some distance and you get some, kind of upset feelings towards, it sounds like Pharrell in particular, although she said stuff about Chad as well.
She went in on Chad too. And Chad is like, if you guys know or you don't know anything about the Neptunes, Chad is the guy that's like, he likes to just kind of stay in the background. Like when NERD would tour, like he would sometimes go, sometimes not. He just wanted to hang out with his family, and he liked making beats and he liked making music, but he didn't want to be in the spotlight. That's why you saw, Pharrell was always the front person. That's who you'd always see. And sometimes you would see Chad, but like you wouldn't necessarily know him unless you knew who he was.
And then thirdly, you want to talk about Pharrell time? Oh, cause I'm happy. I'd be happy too if I was stealing lots of folks' publishing and rights to songs and all kinds of stuff.
She's so pissed.
I actually really wouldn't be happy because it's evil. But the point is, okay, is that there's a lot of hypocrisy, and someone has to edit and bring it up, and it just so happens that I was thrown in this. This is not like I looked for it. I was actually, last night, I was posting on my Bounty and Full page, just doing my own thing. And then I saw one of my fan pages, and someone was like, oh, that's a collaboration between B and Kelis. No, it's not a collaboration. It's called thievery, because the collaboration, the definition of collaboration, it means that we are working together.
It's called thievery. Okay, so now that's the first time she's dropped the whole they're stealing from me. And by the way, she kind of was talking about how, Pharrell's all about empowering the artist and getting rights back, and yet he's doing this, X, Y, and Z. Well, I mean, it's he's following industry standard, but again, right. If I was in her shoes, totally get it. I understand why she's pissed, but I'm just curious. She's using a little bit more aggressive language of they stole from me.
I feel like I've been sounding like I'm just really just, team Neptunes, but the thing of it is I definitely relate to what she's saying as far as just being an artist. I don't think that she is trying to be like defamatory. I don't think that she's lying even necessarily. I think this is her truth. I think this is how she feels, because again, she doesn't just do this very often. And I think that I kind of agree with the point of, and I was thinking like, it's been a lot of years, and I can understand that if the Neptunes signed that industry standard kind of deal, not just the way that they were going to run, they're like, this is our artist. She gets paid on tour, but we're developing, we're writing the songs, we're doing the stuff, we're packaging. And again, not to say that she didn't have any right. I have a hard time believing that she didn't contribute. That I feel that the three-way split was pretty. I think that's exactly what it should have been. Honestly, in their particular case, I think that's totally amazing. Um, but I think that, as the years gone by and stuff like that, and as he's gained more success, I would have just liked, it would have warmed my heart to have heard that years later, without her calling him out, that he gave her the rights to it because he didn't
Right, they
necessarily
came
needs
back to the
Kelis's money.
table. I made a comment about this with Dave Chappelle, right? So in regards to his show, he made a very public declaration in a super respectful way, but he's like, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just going to say this is the situation. They don't want to, give me any rights back in it or give me profit participation. I was young, I was dumb, I signed a stupid contract. And he was able to get the studio to come back to the table. And then, you know what, Sean? Yeah, so as far as this is such a lesson to have super specific terms for all your contracts, right? So I say this to artists. I go, artists are very like, I'm not going to get an attorney because I don't want to spend that $500 on having the contract reviewed. Okay, you're Kelis.
Right.
You didn't spend that $500 and you missed out on the millions of dollars.
I don't even know if she
that your
read
song
it.
then made. No, exactly. And so, it's just you pay so much more by not getting an attorney to read your contract. So, very good point. But anyway, let's watch the last of this clip.
There's no working together if you are not even checking to see if everything's cool. That's a problem, okay? I would never do that to another artist. For real. I never have, I never would. Why? Because what's the point? If I like it so much, why wouldn't I just be like, yo, I really like it. Can I use it? What's that? Like, whatever. That doesn't happen, right? It's nonsense. Because some people, I don't know what they think. I
She has
really,
a
I don't
great
even care. The
voice.
point is,
I like
something
the
has to be done
talking
about
voice.
it. I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm not going to pop off all the time. I'm saying what I have to say because it's true, okay? But I do think that something needs to be done. It happens to a lot of artists. It happens all the time. And I think that really something needs to change. And this just might be the fuel that I needed to actually do it. Because honestly, I try to keep to myself and stay out of the drama. But if it keeps coming to me, what else am I going to do, right? That's all. So say what you want to say. I don't really care. Peace.
You guys in the chat.
I love
let me see.
Kelis. I love Kelis. I do. I'm such a huge fan of her and her music, and I truly feel like she is an underappreciated artist. I feel like her frustrations on, maybe how she is held and how many people know about her in the music industry for taking chances and paving the way for a lot of artists is, I think she's justified in feeling the way that she does 100%. I would like to see them, kind of come back together. But, in the whole argument of Beyonce owes me a phone call or something like that, I think is absolutely ridiculous. Like she's one, like I understand, you're like woman to woman. I don't know how tight you are. I don't know if Beyonce just gets on the phone with this whole album that she did is all like reinterpolations of other songs like Donna Summer and like bits and pieces, Show Me Love. And so it's just kind of, I don't know how common it is for the actual artist to get the other artists on the phone. I mean, I'm sure Beyonce has lawyers and people that clear her samples and clear the rights, and I'm sure a lot of it's emails, and I'm sure, but I could be also just simplifying it.
No, but as far as just industry practice, that's absolutely correct. Typically, the artists aren't doing the legwork. It's the attorneys, it's the managers. I don't know the baseline of their friendship. I don't know if there was something there. If she's just like,
Right.
just because we're females, you should have given me a call from a female empowerment thing. But let me at least say this,
She's
guys.
messing up that live performance of her being on stage with Beyonce doing the la-las in the background.
That's right. As it relates to kind of industry standard for record label deals that are done in the United States, it's very common. The record label owns 100% of the music. The artist is going to get a very small percentage of royalties, something like 14 to 16% on the lower end. And that's after the record label recoups all of its expenses, which can be a lot. So that's why artists sometimes won't see dime one for a long time. And then even if they're a huge knockout, they're Taylor Swift, they're Kanye West, at some point they're upset because now all of their music is owned by the record labels. Okay, so that's like the standard deal. But there can be all shades of nuances in the contracts. And in some cases, especially in deals we do, like for example in Mexico, they don't get anything. They might get paid for a live performance, but they don't get any back-end royalties. They have zero ownership. I mean, they're very aggressively unfair, in my opinion. So we'll continue to watch this one.
And Pharrell and Chad have not responded, not even since when she first brought it up in an interview years ago. They're paying no mind to it. I would like to just leave it with, as a huge fan of everybody that is, mentioned in this story, that, I would like to see some kind of resolution. I would like them to find some kind of peace. And, I'm hoping for a big show where you got NERD and you have special guest Kelis coming in and out, and maybe a big Star Trek show, and you get clips in there, and maybe some Chester French. Let's have a good time, man. Nori.